We're live. Wow. Okay. There's a
Hello.
little bit of a buffer, but hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna straighten you out real quick. Don't get any vertigo. Okay. It's probably the closest you've ever been to my face right there.
Oh, I want to grab your head. Let me grab your head.
Let me grab your face.
Do we have audio? Audio's on? Yes.
Oh yeah. Let me.
Audio's gonna sit on seat.
I was gonna. Okay.
When you're navigating over in this spot, audio will sit there. So
Is
hello, probably
let us know how mic levels are if you need, because like if we're over here,
yeah.
I don't want to be too quiet, but
So this one's gonna be different.
let's also turn this on for the moment.
We wanted to do something fun.
We decided to go on our feet for this one,
Yeah.
which is honestly something I've been wanting to do for a little bit now.
Yeah.
I get tired of sitting down and like not
As I sit down.
But today is kind of a fun experience because not only are we able to sort of talk about some lighting practices, but we're also going to be talking about red and the basic settings for red and getting some solid exposure and talking about 3-point lighting.
And I'm just gonna interrupt him the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, talk about unrelated things.
I'm not going to make this super technical. I'm just going to kind of make it as artistic centric as possible. That way I don't bore you with a bunch of film school shit.
Yeah.
That had a lot of anger behind it. I'm sorry.
What's up, fellas? Hey, everybody.
Whoa.
It's nice to see all of you guys.
Oh shit! I realized the mic's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be a little weird. We're both
Yeah.
we're climbing over each other.
What's up, guys?
It's weird to have mic in
Yeah.
one spot and then camera in the other spot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so okay, so here's the
Big lens boy.
here's what kind of prompted all of this.
We had nothing else to talk about.
No, so we did have a couple late entries come in, but by that point I had already suggested that we might do a shift. So all of the entries that we've gotten for today, we're going to postpone some of them for 2 weeks down the road. One of them is from an office hours patron, Garang, who, Garang, we're going to take a look at your stuff in the next chat. But yeah, I guess I have a couple things I want to say real quick, which is, one is, I'm going to stand too, so that I'm also standing.
Yeah, let's get on the same level, man.
One thing is, just real talk, y'all. I know a lot of you aren't patrons, and I super appreciate all of you who come and attend these, I was going to say workshops, and that's kind of applicable.
It's kind of a
these
workshop,
critiques.
yeah.
I'm wearing this scarf because I thought it would be good color, but I don't need to do it while I'm talking to you. But for you who are patrons, don't forget that you can submit work to us, and I really want to stress in a
Always.
new way. I want to start talking about that differently over Discord, over here on these. That like, I see it as our job to be critiquing, in the sense that we are just an extra voice to be bouncing. Like, we're just a sounding board for you. So
Yeah.
you show us work, and it's not your best work. It's not your finished work. It's stuff that could be improved on, and we're a community to help you refine that work and refine your direction. And so I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think one of my concerns is that we haven't been clear enough saying when you send in a critique, it doesn't have to be, and maybe shouldn't be, a finished perfect work. So all of you who are patrons at any level, remember that you can submit work, and what we'd like to see is that really raw, unfinished stuff. Something that Brandon and I have been talking about in the studio quite a bit is starting, and I'll talk about this at the very back end of the live stream as well, but starting, like, what were we calling it? Like a prompt, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
food for thought.
yeah, so like,
Yeah.
okay, so like the first one, actually prompted by the material Grang sent in, would be like, if you're a photographer or anything, just like quarantine energy, right? Like, we're all experiencing different levels now, with different countries handling this differently. We're all experiencing different levels of like what it means to spend time at home or spend time in a local space. And I would love to see like how you're reacting to that. I know how I'm reacting to that. I've written a lot of music that's very different than music I've written before. But I'd like to know what it means to you. So like Garang sent in photos of like parts of his home over the course of different time and edited in different ways. And that is like a really cool exploration into like, this is space I look at all the time.
Yeah.
What is its significance, and how can I sort of derive significance from that? So maybe that's the first one for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it could be fun.
If you're, a photographer, take some shots. If you're a musician, make some music in a new way. Yeah. Think about new things. If you're a dancer, film yourself dancing in the corner of a room, in a bathtub, on the sink, in the refrigerator, upside down in a closet, like,
in a refrigerator.
You know what I mean? Isn't that cool? Like, you just get really small. And
I've never been able to fit myself in a refrigerator. I've wanted to many times.
You need a bigger refrigerator.
Do they make those?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need like a deep freezer that lays down.
So you stand in the freezer and then just close the doors in on myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, Michael, your film reel is unbelievable. So, shh.
Yeah. No. Absolutely true. I want to see.
I've always struggled with film reels for my own. I don't know. I think I'm terrible at like compiling my own shit. Like I'm terrible at like figuring out like what is my best work, because like I'm too heavily engrossed in it that I can't like see it clearly.
This is sort of like a conversation we've had off mic, but I feel like we should just do this. We should do that for each other. Like, I should compile a film reel for you
for like just my stuff.
Yeah. In the same way that like you should just be promoting my shit.
Like,
you know.
I've had this conversation in the office many times in Kearney, the other office, where it's just been like, I forget sometimes that a lot of the work that I've done for like other channels is still kind of my work.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think about that. I just think about the work that I've like strictly done myself commercially, but also like through this channel. But like, there's so much shit out there now that I've like done.
Yeah. I forget that too.
And like, I forget. Yeah. So.
It's kind of a nice thing when you remember, and then you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's
it's like,
stuff.
Oh shit, there's even more content to fucking siphon through.
No, Michael, the other thing I want to call you out on is I want to see the next iteration of that newer film reel you were doing with the integrating sounds. So.
Oh, I wasn't part of this conversation. JK. Okay.
What's that?
Fair enough. Talking about.
Oh yes, I didn't see that you said that. Yes, I want exactly that. Give me that. Give me more of that. It was good.
Give me big sound, boys.
Give me sound. So what else did I want to talk about before we started? Oh, okay. So if you followed me at all, which you might not have, and that's totally fine, and I'm not holding it against you.
Slightly.
I'm like really close to having a finished body of work, and 2 new albums. The reason I say really close, please shush. The reason I say very close is that I am coordinating how I'm going to release those things. I have most of the music compiled, like 2+ hours of music. But what I'm doing up until that point is infrequently releasing some of them sort of as teasers, and donating to different nonprofits that are really important in America or really important in the world right now. So yesterday, I was gonna do it just for yesterday. I've released some music and I'm donating to 2 funds. One's the Marsha P Institute and Rainbow Railroad. They're both very important institutes.
Rainbow Railroad, that's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that a good name?
That's a great name.
Yeah, so what they do is they help basically chauffeur, that's not the right word, but they help safely move LGBTQ people from areas where there's like basically state-sanctioned violence. So countries that have enforcement of like harm against
gotcha.
LGBTQ. So that's Rainbow Railroad. Marsha P. Johnson Institute is for empowering Black trans people. So it's an institute central to giving a voice to Black trans community in the American dialogue. Both really important institutes. Yesterday, it was going to be yesterday only, I was donating to those causes through my Bandcamp proceeds, but I've chosen, with the weekend being as important as it is in America, with this being the 4th of July, I'm donating through the end of Sunday, so the end of tomorrow. So if you haven't listened to the music, you get a couple more days to get the chance to listen to that music, and I hope that you enjoy that. And if you find a quarter in your sofa, go ahead and donate that. That would be amazing. I mean, honestly, at this point, if you just want to listen to the music and donate directly, you could do that too.
That's
you don't
also
have to
not-
give it to me to donate. Doesn't really matter. Another really important institute right now, or just space for receiving funds, is the Black Hills Bail Fund, or Bail Bond Fund, because yesterday there were protests in relation to Trump being at Mount Rushmore, and those protesters were met with excessive violence and put in jail, and so now there's a bail fund for those people. That's another really important institute to be donating to, so you can check that out. I'll put all three of those links in this video after we go not live, after we go static, after we re-upload this video. But yeah, go take a look at that music. I would love to hear what you think about the music. It is very close to my heart. So on that, I think that's literally all we had. Recap, listen to music. That's jacobwolos.bandcamp.com. I'll put that link in the video after it goes static. And those institutes I'll do as well. And submit some work for 2 weeks from now. Start looking at the corners of your house. Yeah, let's do some weird things. So
Okay. So
also we should look at comments.
We are heavily restricted in terms of space right now, so it's gonna be a little cramped, but we're gonna work with what we have. But first things first, it's gonna be a little dark. I'm gonna close this window here. As much as I love natural light, it is important to be able to control the environment. So I'm gonna move you. Don't get too angry.
One thing that's fun with our serious restrictions in space is just looking around the room and noticing that we have one really good light, but we also have our fun little desk light, the Pixar murderer.
The Pixar murderer.
You know the little lamp that murders the eye in Pixar?
Oh yeah. We have a
fun IKEA lamp over there.
Jake, can you tell me when this screen is in focus here?
Oh yeah. Close. This is a weird way to do it. No. Yes, getting closer. Closer. That's pretty good. Let's take a look and see how good that is.
So as long as you guys can see the screen, I'm pretty happy.
Tell
Yeah,
by the way, I don't know what you're saying reply to, but we're literally physically away from the keyboard, so it's going to be really hard to do a lot of replying. We'll definitely take some moments to take a look at what you guys are saying, but this one's going to be very different. We're physically away from keyboard. I love that you guys are chatting. Keep chatting in the chat. And if you're not chatting in the chat, put some ghosts in the chat. That's a stupid thing.
Horses in the chat.
Horses in the chat.
Horses in the chat. Also, I know everything is a little dark right now, but I'm trying to get a solid representation of what's on the screen.
Get some mood.
I guess we'll go down ISO just a little bit. I always do that.
I also have an alternate baseball cap that I showed you yesterday that's got a fish on it. It says Cooperative Tagging Program.
Amazing.
And it's like an official hat from something. I couldn't figure out what it's from, but it's really great. And I was thinking I might just switch it. But the only reason I'm wearing a hat is that I was thinking about how it casts shadow.
Yeah.
And not that you wear hats, but some people wear hats in their A-roll. Is that a ghost and a horse?
Let me know if yeah.
Aaron, you're
does this
you're fantastic.
focus change at all?
Does it what? Oh, that looks there it is.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, this is fun. This is a really nice vignette.
Trying to make it easy to see some of the settings, but we'll widen back up and brighten back up once we start talking about the setup process. But basically, my process for always starting a setup is just basically dialing the correct settings to then light around. Basically, it's like priming your canvas in a lot of ways. So ostensibly, we're gonna shoot A-roll at about 24. and of course your shutter speed is going to be double that. But usually, depending on the A-roll, I decide whether I want a pretty shallow depth of field. For this, I'm just going to go 2.8 because it's an 16 to 35, and 2.8 is pretty solid. And then we're shooting 18:1 compression, which is basically, so with red, you're shooting to basically a beefed up SSD, a Samsung SSD. And compression basically has to do with basically how much you want to blow up your computer afterwards. But usually I shoot like 18 to 20 in terms of A-roll, which isn't the worst in the world, especially if you're shooting for like 30-40 minutes straight. You're going to get some pretty quality footage out of that compression. But usually for B-roll, I'll shoot about 8 to 1. But for A-roll, you're going to go about there. But basically, with compression, the higher you go with compression, the more noise you're going to see. Also, possibly a bit more color or depth loss. So there's not going to be as much information in the shadows or in the highlights at a higher compression. But basically, if you light correctly, you can kind of work around that. So that's kind of nice with red. But this is shooting raw, so higher compression definitely suggested because it's big file sizes.
I'm going to interrupt your train of thought.
Go for it.
Totally derail you. And let you know that Sophie says, "Let's talk to me and my son ever again."
Sophie.
And I just can't think about anything else ever again.
Amazing.
It's so fantastic.
Amazing.
Hi, Sophie.
How's it going?
That's my sister, everybody.
But since this is red, basically, since you're shooting raw most of the time, or at least you should be shooting raw if you're shooting red, and not ProRes, this doesn't super matter, to be completely honest. It's basically just for monitoring sake, in terms of adjusting Kelvin. But I'm gonna go 600, which is pretty neutral because obviously you can change all that in post because it's raw and it's red, which is lovely. But those are my basic settings that I'm going to stick with. This is your histogram. Just basically make sure that you're not losing all that much information in highlights or shadows. That's depicted by red bars that will show up. So basically, if I cover this lens, this bar goes completely red, which means you have no information in shadows. And then, trying to get, I don't think we can.
Somebody has asked,
Kanti
Kumar has asked, what is A-roll and B-roll? Can you answer that well?
Yeah, so I'm not losing all that much information, but basically if you lost information in highlights, you'd see that part going. But A-roll is usually your talking head, so that's when your subject is talking to your camera. Basically in an interview. What?
This is
Exactly.
a review of a live stream chat that's going fairly well.
Exactly. But basically, like in an interview of some type, and someone is talking to the camera, that's usually your talking head, your A-roll. And then B-roll is all of the footage that exists on top of your talking head. That's kind of the bare bones explanation of that one. But yeah, so now that we've sort of talked about red, and these are the settings that we want, I'm going to sort of bring us back out to here.
Bring me out.
For this, that exposure is about correct in the room, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well
Okay.
exposed.
Cool. I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible. It's not very easy. But Jake, come forward for me. Try to add a bit more separation
Sorry about the noise, everybody.
to the background. Cool.
Is that good?
So yeah, that's pretty solid. Now I am going to raise the center column a little bit. A little too high. Look at me.
Sorry about that low end noise. Everyone's like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Okay, cool. So, that's ideally our frame. Except Jake just sat up for me, and now he's like 5 inches taller. What is this?
No, down here.
Give me the frog. I want frog.
I am a frog. A big frog boy.
I am big frog boy. Okay, so now we shall talk about basic lighting. Everyone has a different form of lighting, and like their preference for lighting. I'm just going to show you my basic go-to for lighting.
Now, here's a question.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about like priming a canvas, right?
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about lighting,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to prime your answer because you're probably going to say what I'm thinking, which is, are you going to come up with just a generalized flat look and then think about how you can augment?
So basically, I just go light by light, and then I dial in very specific elements, basically bringing back intensity of lights from that point forward. But the first thing I will go through is figuring out key light. So this is this big softy boy here. This is our key light.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the objective with the key light, if you're trying to get it as soft as possible, is you have to get it as close to the subject as possible. So it's kind of a fun game of trying to figure out how far we can go before it enters the frame. So
we would tell you that this is an aperture light, but we're not going to tell you that because they haven't sponsored us.
Oh, Jake. We're not salty about it or anything.
No.
So, okay, so now this is entered frame about...
Can they see? I'm not sure they can see.
Yes, they can. Sort of. Somewhat.
So if he says A roll is something you have for breakfast, B roll is when you are what you eat.
Huh.
That's pretty good.
Fair enough. Okay, so that light is in there. It's looking fairly soft.
Soft light.
No, basically, like, if your subject's wearing a hat, which I don't recommend, but if your subject is wearing a hat and they have hat hair and they're feeling self-conscious about their hat,
my hair,
and they have to wear that hat.
I accidentally just took my razor down the center. And
oh, hell yeah. You do not want to light from above. You want to light from an angle. That way, you're feeling light in from this side, and the brim of the hat is not cutting off too much. However, I'm going to say, Jake, can we bring hat up a tiny bit? Perfect.
Like that?
Perfect. Up
so,
a tiny bit more.
So if I was going to wear a hat... You're like, can you bring it to here?
Can you just remove it?
Look, I didn't actually do the thing I said I did. I'm sorry I lied to you, everybody.
How dare you?
I'm a liar. I'm a liar and a thief. Thief of your time and your love.
I'm gonna invade your personal space real quick.
Do it. Mountains Man wears a hat in his A-roll. I can't remember his name right now.
That's not terrible.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Everybody, what's the Mountain Man?
Oh, Peter McKinnon.
Yeah.
Mountain Man. We've corrupted him, folks. Okay, so now...
I watched one video where he edited of some mountains, and I was just like,
thing with mountains,
wow, that's some wild stuff.
Just know that I'm moving things.
Brandon has left. He's in the other room. He's crying.
I got pissed off.
He's just huddled in the corner. He's tearing at his own face. He's sad that I lied to him. Brandon, I'm sorry I lied to you.
How dare you?
Come back, please.
Binge.
I can't do this alone. They'll eat me alive.
So, here... Oh my god, this space is tiny right now. Give me a second. Oh god. Oh god. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Okay, we made it.
Guys, help us get a bigger space, please.
Alright, so, what I like to do when I light is have a key. I like to have a bit of a highlight or a rim light, depending on what you want to call it.
Daniel wants to know, how do you solve the raccoon eyes? Do you bounce it, or do you use another light giving you that light spot in the eyes too?
You, sir, are jumping a little too far right now, because that's why we have this. But no, that bounced pretty much. But ostensibly, we'll get to this in a moment. But I'm gonna put this here for the second.
Also, I'm very self-conscious about my raccoon eyes, Daniel.
Oh god. First time I was ever made aware of the fact that raccoon eyes were a thing. I was working with this older gentleman, and he had some baggage under his eyes, to be honest, and I had no idea how to get rid of it.
Wait, was the older gentleman Marquez?
Oh my god. It was this awful interview thing that I was paid to do, and it was very early on in making videos for people, and my dumb ass in the corner. I feel like this is the moral of the story for a lot of my career, but my dumb ass in the corner is just like quickly looking up how to get rid of bags under someone's eyes in video.
I have literally done that at a soundboard at gigs. How do
I
do this?
Google is your friend.
Yes.
Like, you know, that's just that on that. Basically, with a highlight or rim light, we want to match the angle of the key light.
Oh, interesting. Like a reverse?
Mm-hmm.
So we have like a
and then
45,
I have
45.
no reference of what lighting looks like right now. God, this is difficult.
Also, one thing that's funny, or not funny, one thing that's interesting that we've noticed is our complexions are complete reverse.
Very different.
So
he's magenta, I'm green.
Yeah, and you'll actually be able to see that. This will kind of play to the raccoon eyes thing. I have magenta in the corner of my eyes here, and in the corner of my eye here, and and like it's just part of my look. It's just part of my heritage, my skin color.
My YouTube income is $1.
$1 per year. Yes.
$1 per year.
Yes.
I have to spread it very, very carefully.
He gives me 25 cents. He gives me a quarter and says, "Don't spend it all in one place." And I consume it. I eat it.
Exactly.
I eat it whole.
He eats the quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, so look forward for me.
Looking forward.
My friend. Okay, so we're just gonna raise it up. You see, like on his cheekbone, it just kind of accentuates his very manly face.
Look at my manly face.
So
they can't see what you see, which is the funny
part.
part.
This light right here is like a nice bar, right? Oh, right, because you guys aren't.
Yeah. Wait, in the future, I think we're being dumb. I think in the future you could have just streamed from this.
I doubt it. Yeah, no, I doubt it. Maybe. Okay, in the future, if we like this format.
Anyone want to Google it?
We'll try it. But there's a nice little rim light. Look forward for me. This is a very scientific method, but adds a little separation from his subject to the background. It's a little too intense for me right now. This is what I'm talking about in terms of dialing in the perfect values. Still a little too bright. I think I need to go from a slightly more drastic angle, which means that I probably have to eke it in a tiny bit. Here. Okay, move forward.
It's slightly disconcerting to see after like almost a year of doing live streams and always actually paying attention to the comments. It's slightly disconcerting. Like at this distance, the font size just looks like blobs. But it's disconcerting seeing a lot of things going on, which is nice. Otherwise, it'd be very nice. I love when people are chatting.
Yeah.
But it's like funny that we can't attend to it.
Dude, I told you my YouTube income is $1. Told you. It's probably not far off. AdSense does not pay shit. Right. Okay, so we have key light.
Bye, Sophie.
We have a rim light set up. Bye, Sophie. I'll show you guys the progress so far.
We weren't cool enough for Sophie to stay.
What we're looking at.
She's like, this sucks.
I don't
I'm peacing out.
Look forward for me. So, as you can see, a little bit of rim light. We have solid exposure on his face. I'm going to come down a little bit. Generally, I like to underlight in A-roll specifically. That way I can get a little bit more information out of the skin tone. Also, how horribly out of focus are we?
That just was scary for some people and probably a little
Arousing.
exciting for some people.
Okay, so
Giant
now
hand.
we get to the lovely part of introducing this bad boy. So generally, here, I'm gonna get a little light stand of some sort. God.
Don't knock things out.
Oh God.
While he's gone, quick, say weird things.
Say
Quick.
good things about me.
While he's gone, ask me questions about him. I'll answer them. I'll answer them totally truthfully. Ask me a question about Brandon.
Said no one ever.
Quick, this is an Ask Havard, but it's not Havard asking questions. Quick, ask me questions.
Wolos and Grumman.
Do it. Ask me questions.
Okay.
Oh no, he's back. You can keep asking. You can actually
Sorry.
ask me questions
Sorry.
though. I will answer any
That'd be
question.
fun if we
about
did a Q&A about each other.
Well, we talked about doing that with Sophie, remember?
Yeah.
Like, on this channel,
Yeah.
you two would answer questions about me.
Exactly.
That'd be really fun.
So, it's gonna be a little difficult to.
Okay, well, that's a question for Brandon, but I have to answer it. How tall is your chair? I think the chair is approximately 6.5 feet tall.
The chairs?
I don't know. He says, how tall is your chair? And I don't see it in front of me, and I don't have very good object permanence, and I think it's about 6 feet tall. Yeah, and you're about 7 feet tall. So the chair's about 6 feet tall. What are you talking about?
Oh God.
Brandon's car has a couple names?
Jason Mraz.
You're not supposed to answer these questions.
Sorry, I had to.
I thought you also had it as like Wally.
It was
for a
Wally
while.
for a minute,
Yeah.
and then
Jason Mraz. Yeah. I knew
Yeah,
that.
and then that relationship ended.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to show you the before and the after of the bounce. So, no bounce. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but basically all the shadowed areas, down here in this general region of his face, are now slightly softer because there's a little bit of light that reflects from the key onto the shadows. But I don't know if you guys can see that setup. But I'm now going to bring you back into the A-cam.
A-cam.
We really need to figure out if we can screen capture red,
Yeah, please, somebody look this up for us.
because for next time,
It would be so great. This
I'd
is
be
fun,
super
though.
down to do that.
Brandon does name his sneakers. I can tell you.
I name my sneakers.
Yeah, your Allbirds are named David and Lorenzo.
David and Goliath.
And no, I don't know. Do you name your sneakers? Your Schnickers?
I don't name my sneakers, but hey.
I don't name my sneakers either.
How out
You're
of
not
focus
asking me about
are
my
you
sneakers.
in the A-cam?
Pretty in focus. Pretty in focus.
Okay, so basically, I'm just trying to make this as easy for you guys to see all the elements, which is probably not that easy. But we have. I'm just gonna sort of try and walk you through the situation. Look forward for me. But basically, you have the rim light accentuating his cheek line, his cheekbone, not cheek line, cheekbone. little bit of warmth. I like that warmth introduced into a sort of neutral situation, especially with the gray background. But we also have key light here, so that's, you can probably see the effects of the rim light right there. But once we add this, there's his key, very soft. We can even probably go down with that a tiny bit more. Yeah, probably about there. And then we have this bounce underneath here, which again, I don't know if you can really see the effects of it, but it just sort of softens up those shadows, you know? Makes life a little bit easier for me once I start coloring. But yeah, that's sort of that on that. Now I am going to pull back out, and I'm going to say a few words.
Oh no.
About color and about understanding proper color.
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt.
Let's do it.
Are you still using Scarlet W?
Yes.
Yes. Are you
This
going
is
to
Scarlet
change?
W.
Is the follow-up?
Change is a strong word. I'm buying a Komodo.
Eventually.
But I don't know. I really like this camera. It's been with me for 4 or 5 years now.
Wow.
Which is like a
Awesome.
lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, I don't really have any use for 8K, nor do I have really any use for anything bigger than 5K files.
Yeah.
So for the moment, like, I'm very content with that. But the only thing that I would sort of explore a new camera for is pretty much just like jumping out of the proprietary Red ecosystem. But like with Komodo, they're bringing a whole bunch of things that are not proprietary, so like maybe I don't even have to do that anymore.
Sure.
But yeah, no, the world is changing with cameras.
Garang wants to know, he says, the board is placed directly under the key light, right?
So it's not really placed directly under, but
So key is here.
can
at
you
an
sort
angle.
of demonstrate that at all? In terms, so directionally, we have key coming this way, but
This way.
fall off from the key is floating
Right.
here,
So maybe
which
it's
is
at,
then
maybe it's basically at a perpendicular angle, right?
like
Like,
pretty
boom.
much that.
Yeah.
But you know, the job of the key in this situation is just to soften up some of the harsh shadows that exist underneath his face, and also, especially with the hat being there, it will
We don't wanna
soften that
go-
up a tiny bit.
We don't want to go for Wild West sharp.
I mean, you could if you wanted. It's a vibe.
I'm here to review the 1+8.
Oh, hell yes.
And then other questions. I like this one a lot. Where is it again? We can both answer this.
Okay.
Favorite kitchen tool.
I mean, I don't really cook, so.
Have you watched our cooking video? This was Aaron, right?
Probably a pestle.
Pestle.
Pestle. Pestle.
Yeah, go watch our
I
cooking
could.
video. I really like.
Oh, I like a mixer.
Oh, like an immersion blender,
Sure.
like the that we've used.
Yeah.
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 Immersion blender.
Yeah.
Really good for soups and cheese sauces.
Oh yeah.
I really like potato peeler because you can use it for a lot of things.
Oh yeah. I like pears and shit.
I like shred carrots.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We did that in that video.
Yeah, that's true.
Go watch our cooking video. It's very fun, and we spent a lot of time on it. And we love you and make long videos for you. Please watch
Yeah.
them.
Okay, so number 2, let's talk about people wearing colors or absence of colors, and let's talk about a couple no-nos that I have come across in my days.
So you're gonna make me get naked?
No.
Okay.
So hold this up. So you guys aren't gonna be able to see that, but the white just fucking distracts the shit out of anything
It's an extra
you're
bounce.
doing. I mean, it is basically an extra bounce. Like it'll brighten up whatever's above it and below it. But the objective of an A-roll is to bring attention to the face. Wearing colors that are brighter, or graphic tees, which is also a huge no-no. They don't do that. Just wear solid colors, muted colors.
You'll wear directional movement on a t-shirt.
It's
true. But I think that's another thing to talk about. That's sort of I'm jumping, but that's talking about composition of A-roll.
Yeah.
Where you have directional movement, and the directional movement is playing to kind of create the symphony of movement behind the face, so the face stays out. So that's probably a lot of words, but like.
Well, no, I mean it's about like, you know, don't wear a fucking. I'm gonna pull this out of my butt right now because I just wore the shirt yesterday. Don't wear a T-Mobile shirt that has like pink and white and black and is very busy and very garish and is very distracting, because that ultimately takes the focus off of your face. Instead, you know, just wear a nice, solid, sandy, muted color, or like a blue. And you see, like, I don't know if you can see really in the frame, but it just accentuates the warmth and the grit of the frame, and it just adds a whole lot more dimension than anything like a white shirt would. Also, play with grays. I think it is important to say though, don't, and I'm a victim of this. Don't wear gray on gray. Don't match your colors, because then you're just a floating head. Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, could be good depending on if you're shooting a horror.
Also, you could play to, like yes, you know, neutral brown against neutral blue is good, but like if you have a specific skin tone and undercolors, like the difference between you and me, one of the reasons that I mean, you go to blue as well because you have like more of a tan complexion, but I go to blue because I have blue in my skin and in my eyes. Yeah. So like they both play.
It definitely depends.
If there's like green that works in your skin, desaturated green is probably
precisely.
Good. I feel like I'm giving advice I don't deserve to give, but
no, that makes sense. The only other thing that I really do want to say, which is kind of a hard thing that like I've learned over the years of doing this kind of shit, is like I always like to remain true to real life as much as possible. Right. So I'm not going to use a fucking, you know, RGB green light as a highlight, because where are you going to see that in real life? However, a nice warmth, that could be off of some Edison bulb in the background. Like, you know, it's like it doesn't distract you, it doesn't take you out of the moment, and it feels personal. You feel like you're with them. Whereas, you know, you throw a bunch of RGB stuff in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, where the hell are you? Are you in Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory?
Yeah. Yes. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but in the OnePlus unveiling video, the unboxing video, I'm pretty sure you used a Tiffany
I did.
edge light.
Yeah.
So,
no,
but that's a specific purpose.
So like, let me talk myself down real quick. So basically, I have an out because I like Tiffany.
Right.
But no, I think, you know, it's important to remember that when you are trying to achieve simplicity with lighting, remain neutral, remain natural. But
that's a t-shirt.
But if you are if you look at that A-roll for that unboxing video, you're gonna see a lot of realistic elements. You're gonna see some shears. You're gonna see some window light. You're gonna see some warmth. You're gonna see some cool. But you can always have fun with a little, what I consider an accent light. So for that video, I'm trying to remember. Did I put an accent light behind the little plant too?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
you had one here, and then you had one low 45.
Exactly.
45.
So that's what I consider character lighting.
Yeah.
It gives your frame some character. But if you're blasting it at your subject,
Yeah.
it's no longer character, it's overwhelming.
It is the character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. But I'm not trying to talk myself out of a sticky situation, but that's my philosophy there.
Michael wants to know where you got that wooden cookie in your Instagram story.
Oh, Amazon.
Amazon cookie.
Amazon.
Just look up
it's
cookies.
it's big as shit, man. It's big as shit.
Okay, while he's gone, ask me questions about him. One question is this our own studio? Yes, this is our own studio.
I stole it.
We possess it.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to
This
answer
is
that.
the cookie. I think I'm just gonna start breaking down a little bit.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about first?
I was just gonna pull in a chair and sit next to you.
I mean,
a minute.
for this, there's nothing else I wanted to cover.
Oh yeah, no, not really.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that so cookies are light modifiers, and what that means is like basically you can put a nice powerful light behind this, and then all of a sudden the shapes that are cut into this appear on your wall, appear on your subject, appear on whatever. So this effect gives you like a blind effect, like if it's like a nice evening of golden hour through a window with some shades. That's what it gives you. I've used this a lot because I really enjoy this. But this was on Amazon. I think it's like $80, $80 or so.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where
Kupo.
Kupo.
Never let go.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a decent cookie. I mean, in terms of edibility, but yeah, that was a terrible joke.
Like eatable?
Yeah.
Oh.
Edibility.
Okay.
Edibility.
Okay. I gotta give that a strong. Okay.
Give it a strong. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna move you. I'm sorry.
So you want the chair? That makes sense. So. How much time are we on? I feel like we've. Oh my goodness, we've been doing this for 45 minutes. How time passes, folks.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, this actually was really fun. It was very different.
It was very
A little
different. I'm
chaotic.
not used to this. I'm sorry that it was a bit of a mess in terms of figuring out screens and shit. But
no, it was fun. And
what would be great is if we could somehow. Oh, I could probably get another capture card.
Mm-hmm.
Plug it into, or actually, what would have been smart is if I use the existing capture card, found a way to input that, and then just use the fucking FaceTime camera.
Oh, that's a really good idea. God,
So maybe for next time,
just switching between 720 and 4K just feels like it would just make people vomit.
potato quality.
Yeah.
Potato quality.
Shred some potatoes on your.
Also, I don't use this very much just because I am a very contrasty boy, but room light is a very real thing. Generally for that, you basically, so I have a 300D, an aperture 300D, which is what we refer to in this office as the sun, because it's just so fucking bright.
Yeah.
But basically, in that situation, you can either gel it, you can barn door it, do whatever you want to it. But if you just point it at an angle in the room, across the room, it just gives everything in the room just a bit more light, which is good for certain looks.
Walls are bounces.
I don't really do that just because, so like, my philosophy on lighting is I always want to make the subject brighter than the background. I don't want to make the subject the same brightness or blend in too much with the background. And usually room lights kind of make that difficult. You have to basically make your key a lot brighter, and then you have to fuck with your camera settings a bit more to actually get in proper exposure for the face, and then it just becomes so generally I like to rely on natural light for room light. It does shift a little bit throughout the day, but it's just better quality in my opinion. Yeah, no, that's kind of that's kind of what goes on here in terms of lighting. We aren't super crazy in terms of like lighting setups and that type of thing.
But we don't really have the space to be super crazy. So
yeah,
that's like a totally different conversation.
Compact.
But we were just talking about like the ways that you play within restrictions, and like having such
Yeah.
a small space and such limited tools. I think we've gotten a lot of really cool stuff out of it. I think one of the like testament to that is if you look through Brandon's channel, a lot of the sets look like they're in different spaces, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're in a very
We
small
tear
space.
apart this office like nobody's
Daily,
business.
yeah. Let's do a quick end on this.
Yeah.
I want to start the end by saying we're going to end this and then immediately go to a private, we
Yes.
call it the Let's Fix It. That's another live stream. This is sort of a taste of that. We don't normally do that kind
Yeah.
of like teaser, but generally our Let's Fix It's are a little closer to this. The idea is it's a group of patrons on Patreon. It's patrons that have access or that have subscribed to the Office Hours tier, and twice a month we do another hour where we're just talking down their work, talking down our work, editing stuff, or just having a conversation in video chat with them. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, we're going to do that in a minute. That tier also gets early access to our long-form Great Beyond videos, and they also get access to being part of an audio chat once a month with our artist in residence. This month's artist in residence is my friend Sammy Kovnat, who is a mural artist and a community artist and a bunch of other really cool things. So that's this coming Wednesday. If you're interested, join now. Do you have some questions to answer?
No, I'm just shocked by how much that price has gone up. I remember it being $80. I guess they jacked up the. I guess they saw my videos and saw how nice it is.
Exactly.
So I had to jack up the price.
But we do have to go. So the other
Yeah.
things I want to pitch again, I just want to let you know again, is that there are two things. My music is available for the next couple days. Go check it out. I put a lot of work into it.
Links in the bio.
It's a sample of it. It's just a couple tracks from some of the new stuff, but stuff I'm really proud of, and I'd love to know what you think. And if you, over the next couple of days, during the time that it's available on my Bandcamp, if you buy anything, it's all going to be donated to those causes. What was the other thing that we talked about at the friend? Oh, for the next Let's Talk, which is going to be Let's Talk 09, it'll be 2 weeks exactly from now.
All right.
If you're a patron or you're going to become a patron at the $1 or the $15 tier, please just consider submitting something. We're so happy to receive anything. Just
It's free and it's fun.
Just explore something
It's not free.
interesting and new. It's the space is not, like I said, the space is not about showing us a finished product to get accolades from us, although that is fun and it's nice to see a finished product so that we can just fawn over how great you are, but we're going to fawn over how great you are no matter what, because we're both excited to see good art. So send us something, and in that vein, send us something in your house or strange corner of your living space, because that's a fun little prompt. And if you want to test that before you send it in, because you're feeling a little nervous to send it in to us, join our Discord, and there's that critique channel, and you can be sending it there and seeing responses from the community. That community has over 60 people in it right now, and we would love to see, we'd love to see everybody there. That Discord, it's funny, like we were just talking about this yesterday. That Discord, in December, we were debating whether or not we wanted to make a Discord. Both of us are like old adult and didn't understand it. And Discord has become the most valuable commodity of this entire community. Yeah. Because while having YouTube videos is good, or even live streams, or the Patreon, that's all great. But that Discord, everybody's equal. Everybody is actually a community. They're all interacting. They're all helping each other out. There are like friendships that have built there. It's awesome. It's global. Help it become more global. So we're gonna go. Brandon's checking his watch.
Oh no, I'm just getting notifications.
Yeah, we gotta go.
I do want to say though, one last thing. Don't fucking buy this unless you're like a fucking pro. Like, don't spend $125 on it. Get some cardboard.
Yeah.
And an X-Acto knife and a ruler.
Yeah, cheap is fine. Nobody's gonna tell the difference.
That's the only thing that was on my mind right there. $125 is ridiculous.
That's important. Yeah.
But
yeah, expensive is not always better. Most of the time it's worse.
Makeshift video is the best video.
Yes. Same with audio.
Overwhelming yourself. So, not to ramble even further, but there's a little documentary series about how they shot this series called Mindhunter on Netflix, and it's a David Fincher worked on piece. and they were talking about how, like, with the series, their main objective with it was to restrict their palette in terms of gear, in terms of color, in terms, you know, and one of the things that's really, you know, it kind of struck home for me in a lot of ways is, like, limiting yourself in that way allows you to be so much more creative because you're not overwhelmed by the amount of gear at your disposal, which can be both a great thing but also detrimental to the project. Instead, you're sort of forced to just make shit up as you go.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Improvise.
Which is great for storytelling.
Yeah.
Because you can focus on what you're actually dealing with, what's in front of you.
Right.
You're not worried about what lens.
Yeah.
You're not worried about what lighting gear. You're just basically in the moment, and you're trying to get what's in front of you with what you have.
That's a conversation we had on a lot of our earliest Fix It in posts, which was the first iteration of Let's Talk and Let's Fix It, where we spent a lot of our time while you're editing talking about design versus art, and like the intersection of design and art, where design can often be technical, and it is the nature of design to be scientific, and sometimes with too many tools at your disposal as the designer, you can get lost.
Yeah.
And that's true for art too, but I'm just using those terms specific. I mean, I think
I'm sure.
I think everybody who's an artist is also a designer. Everybody who's a designer is also an artist. But those two facets of things, like
technology,
are so
is
important.
great, but sometimes it gets overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, let's end it because otherwise we're going to talk for 2 more hours about nothing.
Okay, we'll see some of you soon.
See some of you in a couple minutes. See others of you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.